Tony Baird.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
So we talked a little bit before this started. You're on how many shots of coffee now?
8. But listen, I had an early morning. I typically don't do 8. I typically do 4, and then I do an energy drink. Time out, Brennan says.
You can scoot up your chair. Your mic is blocking your face.
Damn it, that's my fault. I pushed my chair
I
down.
told you the move was going to be up and down on the
I
chair.
thought that before, but then I didn't.
Okay.
Do I look short over here now?
Hello. Oh, yeah, that's way better.
I feel like the
Okay.
average needs to go up.
I'm still worried about my hair.
Thank
One
you.
of the meters.
I want to change mine. Hey, so round 2. Start over?
Start over.
No one knows we did it, but your chair was having some difficulties. And since this is audio, it's very important to point that out.
Awkward. You're so awkward.
It's good to be back. Welcome.
Yeah, it is. Welcome. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good
Is it-
afternoon.
Oh, I had to think about it.
I
I
know.
never know what day it is.
That's because we work in marketing. It's a day every day.
That's true.
Yeah.
How's your 8th shot of coffee today?
Oh, well, listen, Linda. I had to get up early this morning.
Define early. Please.
6. This is early. I know. I had a doctor's appointment, and I was like, well, I'm definitely going to sit in the freaking lobby for 30 minutes, so I need a coffee. And then Coyle and I were coming here to podcast, and I was like, do I want lunch or a coffee? And I was like, I want another 4 shots of espresso, so 8.
Wow.
Typically, it's 4 in a energy drink.
These are such hard decisions. How do we live?
I know, seriously.
How do we live?
These are my daily struggles.
I am teasing you, but I'm
Yeah.
drinking a Red Bull. So
You're just as bad as I am. Get out of here.
I was up at 5:50. So how about that? That's
Well, I snoozed twice, so I really got it about at 6:12.
the intro to this show every time could really take you on a whole new journey. So now it's the sleep podcast, and
Yeah.
how many snoozes are appropriate?
If you asked him, none.
None.
Me, minimum 3.
So why then don't you just change your alarm
No, it's
24 minutes later
It's
or
a
whatever?
habit. It's a habit. It's a mental. Yeah. Do you snooze?
Sometimes
Yeah. Do you snooze every morning?
I try
Open
to
up your
change it.
phone. Open up your phone and show me your alarms.
Alarms? No, I use the not the alarms. I use the other thing.
Let me see your alarm clock.
Why? You don't believe
see
me?
it. No, just open it up. I'll
Oh.
show you mine.
I'll show you mine. You show me yours.
I have 35 alarms set.
Oh no, mine's just one. So
6, it's 5:58. It's 5:45, 5:58, odd times. 6, 6:30, 6:45, 7, just goes down.
you know what I started doing? I got that light bulb
Does it really work though?
turns
or
on,
did you
it
just-
slowly turns
Or did a
on.
marketing campaign get you?
No, it's great. I've
It
always
works?
wanted one, and now it's these smart light bulbs because it starts at 5:20 and it's at full brightness when my alarm goes off. And sometimes I wake up before my alarm.
I sleep with the lights on.
What? They say people who drink black coffee are psychopaths, but I think we found the truth here.
I have 2 night lights.
You sleep with the light on?
Yeah, every night.
Do you check under the bed before too?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, I've known you
I
for a long
do.
time, and I never knew that.
Yeah, I sleep with the lights on always. I have a light on.
Do you use a face mask?
Nope.
Weird.
I am.
Okay, before this is the full blown
Habit.
sleep podcast.
Sleep, coffee, caffeine habit.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a pair of guests today. Andrea's so excited for this. So I should have checked in with official titles beforehand. I usually do, but we've got Carter and Brie, the owner-operators
Yes.
Yep.
of Floor Coverings International here in Spokane. That's the official title, right? Because we're all business. But Carter, you go to a party and you're introducing Brie to someone. Do you introduce her as the owner-operator of Floor Coverings International? And if not, how would you introduce her?
The boss.
The boss.
Yes. I like that.
The boss.
On the record.
I love
That's
it.
right.
That's right. No, owner operators. We try and team up and crush it together. So
I love that.
yeah.
Boss.
Very
That's cute.
cool. And Brie, how do you introduce Carter?
It's I do my hubby / business partner. I never quite know what to lead with. Kind of depends on
Gotta
who
read the
I'm
room.
talking to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I don't say the boss, so
Because that's
you.
yeah.
I'm the team member.
There you go. He's my
a special
subordinate.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Go
Well,
get us a coffee.
yeah. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. So, have you guys listened before? Put you on the
okay.
Yeah.
spot. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the water crushing incident.
See, that's the thing.
The miss.
They see it online.
Yes.
Got to put those clips out.
Social media, I know.
Well, I only ask because it's like, man, we could really take this sideways, and they'd never know.
Ooh.
But
Let's do it.
yeah, all right. So, tell us about the business for realsies, though, right? Tell us about the business.
Floor Coverings International. We're a kind of a in-home design consultation type of a business. We do all different types of flooring, carpet, laminate, luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, you name it, we do it. And our goal is to really elevate the experience in home remodel for all of our clients here in Spokane and North Idaho.
So let's back up a step. How did you start? Why and how? And how did you end up in Spokane? How did the two of you, let's go. How did this whole little business, how was it born?
Brie and I, actually, we moved over here from Fall City, Washington, and both of us had careers in medical device and then philanthropy. And we really knew that we wanted to get into something where we could just deal with real people again, work with real people on the things that they wanted to do. And so actually, I started kind of really digging in making this kind of career change, started really digging into what we could step into where there was really good training provided and really good resources provided without us really having to reinvent the wheel. And so we decided to kind of go down the path of franchising, and we found Floor Coverings International was a great brand that provided a lot of those good resources and also some really cool technology that we can bring to bear. So the barrier to entry into the flooring business allowed us to learn the things we needed to learn while providing a lot of really cool customer service, customer-centric ways to approach a business that hasn't necessarily had that.
How'd you choose Spokane?
Well, so I'm from here. So, I've gone back and forth to Seattle a couple times. Carter's from Seattle. And ultimately, I told him it didn't rain as much here. And so,
Which has not been true the last month. I'm
yeah,
not sure what's...
this winter's letting me down a little bit. Yeah. But so during COVID, working virtually, and our son had virtual school, and it was like, all right, let's do this. And at the time, you were still working in your other job. And so Washington State was the, let's go back home.
Awesome.
And you were enthralled by like the lakes and the North Idaho, and right, that's what got you.
Yeah.
That and the skiing. Carter loves to ski. So back home, we live like 10 minutes from where I grew up. So
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you're like, okay, Spokane's it. And like at the time when you're looking into Floor Coverings International and like franchising, how did that tie into Spokane? Like, who's your closest territory, or how does that all work?
So we got on board with Floor Coverings International through a franchise consultant, which I think is something really unique in the franchising world, that those are great people to connect with to really look at all the options. And Floor Coverings International was a great option for us for all the things that I already described. But Spokane specifically was a totally wide open territory, and the Coeur d'Alene and North Idaho market. And so it kind of aligned not only with kind of where we wanted to be, as a community, but also there was a lot of opportunity here to, work on elevating the bar in the home remodel space. So it really kind of folded in nicely.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And I've heard of I've heard of the idea of the consultants, franchise consultants, but I don't think I've met someone who used one in that process. So
that's really cool.
I'm guessing, and fill me in, you're giving them some of your skill sets, what you're interested in. Like, how did that part work?
I have all those questions. I'm like, how does that work? Because in franchising, like, there are thousands of franchises,
Oh, yeah.
millions.
Lots.
I mean, there's so many, and it's like, how do you choose, and what do you? Okay, yeah. So how? Yeah.
So I think, first off, there's a lot of different franchise opportunities, different brands out there. Not all, there's good, better, best of everything. And I think a franchise consultant is somebody who lives in that world and helps you bridge the gap between the brand and what you're looking to do. And so there's an interview process. There's what do you really love? What are you passionate about? And then there's a lot of back and forth on, hey, what do you think about these three? What do you think about these three? And there's a lot of back and forth feedback, just like you would with any type of a, consulting opportunity. And you really narrow down from their impression, what kind of an A-level brand might be.
Awesome.
It also helps to identify kind of what your financial opportunity is and your financial entry is, because, there's a lot of brands out there that are really great brands, but it may cost you $1 million to get it up and going.
Totally.
Whereas you can find something for $100,000 maybe.
Yeah.
And the outcome can still be the same as far as profitability or kind of business plan and trajectory.
Do they help like research the city? Like, because that's kind of an interesting case for you guys, because it's like, okay, maybe we should move. And then you're starting to come into like, did they like provide stats on the area, or did you guys do that?
Not so much. Just for context, one of the options was like a cleaning solution for commercial spaces. Granted, it was COVID. And so that was a big deal. And then one of them was an outdoor lighting opportunity. And these ones were great companies, but FCI, the culture and the technology, all of it just like really stood out. But I think like for landscape lights, the answer was ultimately no, because we live in Spokane, and who needs landscape lighting, 6 months of winter versus if we were in Arizona, that we maybe could have owned a landscape light company, right?
Oh,
so I don't know so much like city or state, but more of the opportunity to then kind of interview or speak with that company and get a feel for their culture and really what they're about. And then from there, it kind of becomes obvious, okay, we want to go down this path or that path.
That's great that there's so many different, it wasn't even just like, oh, let's just look at flooring, because you guys didn't have that background.
Right.
And we are actually, Brennan was showing us, he's reading the E-Myth. And we were talking about that before, which is about people who are like technicians in the space, right? So I'm a flooring guy and I go open a flooring business. You guys are the opposite of that.
Right.
Was there at any point in the process, were there specific skills that you guys already had that became important for this? Or was it just purely like, hey, that checks all the boxes as a business we want to own?
Well, I know kind of when the process started, the franchise opportunity was really something that I was passionate about, because I love the efficiency built into a franchise model. And so as we were looking, one of the things that we really wanted to do was something in home improvement. That was really something kind of that was at the top of our list. And so it was natural to kind of start weaning down to those types of opportunities. And then when you start looking at the brands, you start looking at the brand power, where that brand is looking to go, what investments the larger brand organization is trying to do, and what opportunities and investments they're going to be making in the next 10 years that could ultimately, compound the value of your business. I think it's important to say too that when you work with a franchise consultant, you're not paying them anything. The brands pay them.
Shut up.
They get commission off the sale.
I wanted to circle back too and be like, how the heck did you even find this person? Like,
he found you on LinkedIn.
Well, interestingly enough, this particular individual used to work for the same medical device organization that I did, but he worked in the Southeast, whereas obviously we were in the Northwest. And so I was already connected with him on LinkedIn, and he kind of started chatting back and forth with me on LinkedIn. And then it turns out, his business that he started was in franchising. And then he moved from franchising into franchise consulting. And then now he's a franchise consultant and owns a bunch of different franchises. So
awesome.
It was a wealth of knowledge, because it is really something it's something behind the scenes that you don't even think about when you're trying to make a decision for what kind of business you want to get into. And a free resource like a franchise consultant that is deep into all of the franchise networks across the country can really help guide you in that kind of search.
That's such a good point. And we work with quite a few franchises. I kind of lost track at this point. And they're all done like a little bit differently.
For sure.
But it is, even from the marketing seat that I sit in, there's so much that I like had to never even thought about from like the business standpoint, or you just think like scalability and those kinds of conversations. It's really interesting. And it's also interesting to me how many people don't know how many businesses are franchises. Like there's franchises everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's
some
crazy.
of the most popular businesses, most popular brands, right?
Yeah.
And they can have kind of a, especially here in Spokane, right? People love local and they love that, but you're like, hey,
we are local.
We live here, we work here, we own
we
so
own
there's
the
kind of an
business.
interesting thing there where I think you see it a lot in restaurants where, that chain
Yes.
restaurant
Right.
is kind of known like that. And you're like, I'll get the local guy. But then every once in a while, if it carries over to this, like it's a different conversation though. Cause
Yeah.
you guys own, you own the rights to the city and what you're doing. And like the business is yours. You've got this support network, which is great. But yeah, why people be hating on franchises?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Boo. To them, not to the franchises. But so here's something else. I mean, I find it interesting that with the franchise consultant option, if you don't have that and you go in, I can't even imagine what you wouldn't know.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, buy your first house and you walk away and you're like, 1,000 things I would have done differently.
Right.
And you know it. But this is a lot bigger than
This is a
a big
business.
commitment, right?
Right. And it's probably no different than an agent in a way that has the back channel conversations, already knows what to expect, knows the people that are running the business. They see each other at the franchise
Yep.
conferences. So it's you're kind of leveling up a little bit in the relationship by just working with somebody like that.
It's also just more an introduction. Like, I'm not sure that, the consultant isn't the expert per se, right? Like, they don't need to be, but, it's like through finding the right partner or the right who, right? They're going to own what they do best, right? In this case, like simply introducing us to FCI, Floor Conference International, I don't know if we would have had that otherwise. So,
No.
yeah.
That's,
I mean,
It
there's
worked out.
thousands and thousands and thousands
Right.
of options
Yeah, to
out
your
there.
point, there's
we'll have to get
Tremendous
that
franchising.
name from you
I
so
will.
we can use that as like, because there's so many people that I think about that I'm like, that are curious about it. And it's such a great way to start a business.
Yeah.
It is.
Because you don't have to do everything.
Right.
Right? Like you still have to do a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the reality for us too is that it was really our goal to elevate the experience for a customer.
Yeah.
Flooring may be the thing, right? It's the product that we're selling and that we're representing, but the reality is we're trying to improve the experience for our customers so that they feel good about not only what they're improving in their home, but also the experience that they had while doing it. And that's where we shine.
Yeah.
The organization, the communication, finding the right partners to work with to make sure that the overall experience is meeting or exceeding the expectation. Whereas in home improvement, that's not necessarily.
Well, and
Always the
also, you guys have the FCI credibility and authority, right?
Right.
We're, we're here in Spokane, but also like look at everything that our brand is doing.
Right.
Yeah, there's
Everywhere.
almost 300 locations.
That's what location number are you guys? Do you know?
Probably 200 and
Yeah,
something.
it's growing a fair amount.
And it's and you're in your second year?
Yes,
Yes.
just past second year. Yes.
What was the best part of your first year?
Ooh,
And this was your guys' first franchise, right?
Yeah.
that's a good question. I think, boy, do you learn a lot every day.
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes. You know that feeling where, like, I describe it as like you're like physically feeling yourself grow, like mentally and physically. Do you know that feeling where like you're challenged?
Yeah.
And so sometimes, like, depends how you see it. Is that like an asset or a liability, right? Like sometimes that can feel really hard, but sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm maximizing every single day, and maybe I learned something today that I didn't know yesterday, right? So
Absolutely.
a bit of a blessing and a curse, but I think that, and just I think proud of what we've done in that first year. I mean, it's challenging. It's can be challenging to own and run a business, but I think especially the first year, you're just learning so much on the fly as you go. And I think, to your point though, a little bit, it's a little bit of like reverse engineering. Like, whereas we didn't walk in with flooring experience, we walked in with backgrounds in customer
Business
service,
and,
and business,
yeah.
and people, right? And, quickly acquire that flooring experience that's needed to do what we're doing really well. So, yeah, I think for me, it's just
The growth.
the growth and proud of what we've done, and
You should be proud.
excited of what's on the horizon.
I think too, we're a part of a network of really cool people. Floor Coverings International, the culture is really,
Yeah, they're
really
awesome.
good. And so the other franchise owners that we're, whether we're in specific groups with that support each other and challenge each other as peers, or just the whole network, we get together once a year in Mexico for our big convention, and our vendor partners are there. And so it's really a really cool group. And so we've met some really, really cool people that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
I freaking love that. Your group specifically, the floor word momentum.
You got it.
It's
I'm
the
sorry,
best.
what?
A floor word instead of forward. So good. Momentum. And Aaron did the coolest little, I don't even think you saw it, with the little scooter with
I should have worn the shirt.
Yeah, you should have worn it.
On
I
our
haven't
shirt.
even seen it. It'd be so great.
Awesome.
Okay, next time.
Carter was just like, hey, we're trying to get shirts and we have this little group. And I'm like, oh man, this is the greatest
Oh, so
thing
that's just
ever.
part of the like a group
That's
of your
just there.
like.
That's their like, and I think that's another thing that is so, and you can speak to this, so special about the franchise is that you can build your network and you can be like, hey, I know we're in a different state and we're in a different city, but also like, how the hell are you dealing with this?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
like, have you had this challenge? You can. That's like really almost priceless.
Yeah.
Like being able to have that resource. A lot of people, gosh, and like the community there and being able to share.
That's been my experience, because when
Yeah.
the model is the exact same for your business, but you're not competing,
Right.
Because they're in a different zip code. So
That's
like
it.
you can walk in and show them the balance
Everything.
sheet. You can show them the P&L. And I've sat in some of those rooms where they're like line by line, what is labor percentage? What is travel percentage? What is gas? All this stuff. And everyone's like, you're just trying to move some of those numbers. Sometimes it's a half a point up or down.
Right.
And it's such a big deal to have access to a group that's willing, and when it just lines up. Because obviously you find some floor coverings folks in Spokane, you're probably not going to do that,
No.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, of course not. But it's also that same concept from the corporate team too, right? It's not that traditional dynamic of, boss employee. Like
Yes.
in franchising, there is a royalty, of course, and so as good as we do, they're doing that well, right?
Win-win.
So it's a win-win. Rising tide lifts all boats, right? So it's
Yeah.
that, and that's part of the support. It's not just a monetary thing, right? But it's a very collaborative approach. I love that about, it's not a huge corporate team, maybe 50 people or so, but yeah.
How are you able to see that culture in the shopping process? Because you both mentioned it now that was a big piece of why you chose this group.
I mean, so it's called like discovery days or
Yeah,
discovery calls. So a lot of Zoom calls with, who was Jared there? What was his title? They have like a development person there. Development
Sales
team.
and development.
Yeah. And just so a lot of was over Zoom, and I think it continues to be. And you meet with different corporate team members, and it's truly kind of an interview process both ways.
Yeah.
So you can get a feel pretty
You're just
quick.
picking up the vibe there.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
Yep.
And we did a discovery call with the CEO of the brand, and that was a really good experience. And there were some difficult conversations, they're business conversations that you could imagine as far as contracts and things like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
And it was obvious from the get-go that everybody was more interested in bringing on the right people for whatever that took, rather than making sure that they were hard-lined about how
Awesome.
it's supposed to be done. So it's been a really, really great experience, I think. And the culture's only gotten better, because as we've been in the network a while now, you're starting to see the quality of people that are coming on, and that the people that they're trying to bring on are good quality individuals who are going to have successful businesses. And the brand itself is, we're the fastest growing flooring business in North America. And the brand itself is at that point now where, sister companies of our brand, like California Closets as an example, we're starting to level up to one of those brands now where, the big
The
benefit.
recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So oh my gosh, like me in my mind, I'm like, yeah. So you're in year 2, and I'm like, so what's next? No, because I'm thinking. Obviously, working with you, I see such a vision for you two specifically. Like, I feel you're young, you're fun, you got great personalities. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you could take it here, you could do this here. And then I'm like, whoa, chill. It's not even. It's over here. Just like, I can see your future. How have you thought about like doing other, now that you're in homes, your guys' home is beautiful. Brie, No, I'm like we're like, this is the most gorgeous home. It's great. Like, it makes sense, right? Obviously, you guys have an eye for this, and you enjoy the relationships. Like, yeah. Do you see any other future home projects? Possibly, maybe.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
No, like, do you think maybe like, oh, we should do interior design too?
I think there's a lot of opportunity out there for doing, a lot of different things. Kind of once you're in the home and you're able to build and establish relationships with your customers in that way. But I also think that there's something to be said about being really good at something and not trying to be just good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it takes a much higher level of organization and coordination to make all of that other stuff kind of meld together in, a general contractor or, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of opportunities, but ultimately, like I keep saying, it is really about the experience for our clients. And so if we can make that happen, and reproduce that the right way in this community while growing our team of people who have that same kind of culture and mindset, I think there's a lot of opportunities to be able to try and expand that into other areas of home improvement.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about FCI, or Floor Coverings International. What your guys' customer experience is different than other flooring companies in Spokane, because you have the mobile showroom.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to go. I've only bought flooring once. Have you probably bought flooring a bunch?
Not a bunch. Not like every Saturday.
You have a lot. We got a lot of flooring.
You've had multiple homes, right?
I've bought a floor.
Yeah,
I bought a floor or two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I rent. So I do not. But like, let's talk a little bit about that unique differentiator and how you are like, just, I would assume that makes it easier to build
We'd hope so.
better relationships too, right? Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Well, we don't have a retail storefront, right? So number
Right.
one, that's different than other flooring stores in town. So you maybe have seen our vans out there. They're a mobile showroom van, have hundreds of samples in them. We do custom order. We have access to thousands for Tony for all your floors that you're getting.
Tony carpets the ceilings. No.
Well, I want to come to your house. And so we bring, show up to your appointment, measure the space, have high-end technology to do that. But most importantly, bring those samples into the home and, up against Tony's carpet on the ceiling, we can match whatever flooring goes best with that. But truly, you can see it up against the brick or the wall color or the furniture. And so it really helps create, one, a really strong visual of what looks right in the home, but also tremendous ease. I don't know if you've ever lugged 30 samples back and forth. Right.
To me, it's crazy. It's crazy that no one else is doing it, because not even like having to lug a bunch of samples, but I'm such a visual person. And if anyone likes interior design of any level, the light matters, the paint matters, your furniture
really
matters,
does. Yep.
like everything matters. And you want it's like Genevieve, she's been our art director, she's been painting her laundry room in her basement, and she had like 3 yellow paint swatches on her wall and just 1 square of wallpaper for weeks. And then she's like, well, I changed my mind, I changed the wallpaper, and here's the color. It takes time.
Yeah.
But to be able to see that in your home, like, it's so important.
I'm
kind of shook at that it's like not more of a thing, because also if you're just replacing your ceiling carpet, you need to see.
I want to see what my ceiling looks
You
like.
want to see what it looks like against your LVP walls. No,
A whole new world.
They're
whole
tiled,
new world.
actually.
He has a different type of flooring on every surface. No.
Well, and people purchase their new home from their phone, right? Virtually, right? And so it just kind of mimics also how people are buying. And, flooring's an investment, right? Like, some people change their flooring every 40 years. Some people every 5, 7, 10 years, so it's something that doesn't happen all the time. It depends on the situation, but it is an investment.
Yeah.
And people are making large investments virtually or in the comfort of their home. So it matches that, current buying style as well.
So you're coming into the home service, market in Spokane. What outside group or person or thing has been the most helpful for you guys in this? Like, has there been one? Like a networking group, or like or like a different blog or, you know, like
Yeah.
a certain person?
Basically, what's the secret to your success?
No, but I mean, like,
in
what's
a
been
sentence,
like
please.
Working with your spouse. Is that another podcast?
There you go. I love that.
Next week. Join us next week.
I have some thoughts on that, but do you have some thoughts on that?
You know, everybody's looking online for stuff, whether it's flooring or a car or whatever it is. And so we spend a lot of time trying to network in the community with people who are talking to people who may be in the situation around needing floors. And so that's building our community through networking groups like,
Yeah.
BNI,
Yeah.
or I know, Brie is doing the chamber and Rotary and all of the things. And so our goal really is just to get ourselves in front of people, let them know who we are, let them understand a little bit about what our business is. We also enjoy partnering with businesses in town like Integrity Remodel, one of the really high-end remodel companies in town that cares about quality and customer experience. And we align really well on that.
I love that.
So, yeah, there's a lot of, we spend a lot of time networking within the community and networking with some of our partners in the community to make sure that when people need floors, they can go somewhere other than just one of the big box stores where you're not going to get the experience and you're not going to get the education, which is probably a whole nother topic around, what I do in the home is there's a tremendous amount of education to really try and identify, like, what do you want it to look like? That one's pretty easy. Most clients have an idea of what they want. What do you want it to feel like? Carpet, whatever. And then, what the budget is. But then what do you expect that this product is going to do for you? Because it's not all the same, right? You can say, I want a car, right? I want LVP or I want laminate. I want a car. But you can have a Porsche and you know what to expect, or you can,
have a Honda Civic.
Honda Civic. And that's what you're going to expect. And so taking the time in the appointment with clients, when an appointment could last, 45 minutes to 3 hours, depending on the scope. And of course, it's a free consultation, so it's not something that we charge for. But the goal is that we can pretty much tell the client, this is what the project's going to cost at the end of the appointment for the product that you found that you love, and that's going to meet your expectations for the space that you have. And it's it's a really enjoyable thing for me, who's in the home doing those types of sales. It's been a really, really rewarding.
I was going to take that a totally different direction.
You should.
Please. I can't wait.
I don't even remember your question now, but I was going somewhere way different with that. But I think you
That's
asked
called
something.
pontification.
Yeah, you do that well. I think you were asking, what's the magic or what's the support,
Or like,
right?
what have you found that's been really helpful?
So I'm just
Carter's been really helpful.
Carter answered it.
I think it was a perfect answer.
It was a great
I love
answer.
it.
Yes. No, I know, but honest, I'm with you because
this is just a good example of
got
how we
I like this.
take things. No, honestly, one of the things that I think has been really helpful, it's like mindset, right? And FCI as a whole does a really great job in bringing in like world-class resources. And one of them right now is Dr. Ben Hardy, and his books are out
Amazing.
there. Dr. Ben Hardy, we do a couple times a year now, we go and meet with him and talk. And so it's really this concept of elevating, if I could, it's like taking your 20%, like who you are, what you bring to the table that's better or different than what anybody else can do. And how do you really get into your business? And so a key part of that is bringing in what he calls, Dr. Ben Hardy calls, like the who. So people that are excellent at marketing, right? Or excellent at other parts of your business to help, me or Carter be in what maybe we really bring to the table. So that's part of it. And honestly, we work with a business coach, Kenny Smith.
We love
Defeat Average.
I keep,
average.
I keep trying to get him on the show, and
Hi,
he's so
Yeah.
busy.
Like that was an easy little lob there, but like he's great. And I think it helps us in our process, and it's, weekly or biweekly. And that, everybody needs that, I think. So
That transitions like so good into like another question that I wanted to talk about was like, yeah, you guys are owner operators, you're married, you're out in the field, you're out at friggin' networking events, you have you're running. How?
What's your question?
That's a lot.
How?
do you manage all of that? Like, do you have any fun tips or advice? I love that you brought up that 20%. I was like, that's good. That makes me think of that. But yeah, like
It's a running joke. It's like I am 2xing really hard right now. I'm
Yeah.
not 10xing right now. I am chasing down some flooring or something instead of working on growing my business.
I don't know. I think it's the I don't want to say promise, but it's the future goal, right? We're building something. We're proud of that. We like what we're doing, and so it's right now. It is. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? It's really hard work, and it takes up a lot of our time and our time and our mental time and energy and all that. But where we see that going, it makes it worthwhile. I will also say things like self-care and going to the gym and sitting in the sauna or doing hot yoga or taking a quick little, like we went skiing on Sunday. You know, it's been like a rough, but just like getting up to going skiing and like clearing taking time away from the business. We probably don't do enough of that, but gosh, people tell us to do that. And when you do it, it kind of works. So
that's what I was curious too, is like, is there a rule at like a certain time we're not talking about it? Because I could talk about work all the time. I mean, ask any of my friends, ask Tim. Yeah. Like, I'll talk all freaking day about different campaigns and work. But there should be, but like, I could listen, we should like a little secret word. I don't know what it is.
I think some couples in business do. I think when you work with your spouse, I think that's a whole different level. And I think some couples have that. We probably still need a secret word. Because
I know floor talk.
No, hold on. I think it depends on how you guys operate, though, because I think this rolls into a conversation about like work-life balance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to say about that because what you guys are doing, while it's your work, it's your life. Yes. And and we
like
this
me,
came up.
We talk about this,
because I started at 7 in the morning, I ended at 7 at night. Doesn't mean you worked a 12-hour day.
Right.
Like what other things happen and. I'm getting prickly on that because I think there's a lot about
like
that.
Chills?
No, like I'm gonna fight someone.
Okay.
This Tony likes to quote unquote. I just want to bop you on the head.
I'm not trying to bop anyone here.
We get spicy.
All I'm saying is that
just saying, like when you own and operate a business with your spouse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's your life. Like, for me, work is, but like, Tim can also be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I don't care about that campaign. But if I was like, hey, it's different. It's completely different.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Maybe this is it. Y'all don't need a word if it's working for you. Don't think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to fight someone on.
Right.
You don't have to cut off the talk at 7:30 p.m.
I wasn't thinking 7:30.
Like
I was thinking like 10 o'clock in bed.
It doesn't matter the time. It doesn't matter the
I think that is the secret, though, and I think that's something that we could do better on because I think that's advice we're given a lot is like you need that separation, and it can take over everything, right? Because not only are you doing it, but it's your investment, it's your livelihood, it's all the things, right? And we have that shared experience, whereas you and Tim, like he doesn't know what you're talking about, so it kind of just
I have to explain it, and he doesn't, and I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Right, exactly.
Starts talking about engineering robots, and I'm like.
Right.
That's science talk. Let's talk about ROI, not about.
Yeah.
We'll circle up on this one in a year or so.
I think that's a good idea.
See where you're at.
Yeah.
Because
I would like this.
Andrea's asking about the future over here, but you're early in the business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't.
This is year 2.
Yeah. This is
I see
early
a
on.
bright future for you too.
But you take day 1, right, to day 700 or whatever it is, and like Brie said, the amount of growth that's happened inside of that time, we're doing way better now than we were then.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing what you build process into your business so that your customer service doesn't fall down and that process supports your brain power so you don't have to spend all that 7 p.m. over dinner talk about work and stuff like that. So we also have a wonderful business manager, Eleanor, who has helped relieve a lot of the pain points of our business, and as we grow our team, making sure that we've got good process in the business so that we can keep the customer service where we want it and the culture where we want it, while we're able to de-stress the overall business and what it takes to move the business forward and grow and scale. So it's a fun journey. I think I mean I couldn't think of us doing anything different than what we're doing now, but we're definitely not doing it perfectly.
Yeah.
No one's doing anything perfectly.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Well, we're both Leos, so that gets in the way too.
We love Leo. Leo rising. We love Leo energy.
Yeah.
We're both Leos.
I gotta ask though, you mentioned Ben Hardy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book?
Well, I think so he's doing a new one. I forget what it's called, but it's coming out. But the 10X is easier than 2X. That was my favorite.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's most applicable right now because you can see that literally in what we're doing and how that is part of it's essentially. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways, but like if your goal is impossible, there's only so many ways to get there. You have to revamp your strategy in the way that you're going to make that happen because you can't just fall into old routine.
Right.
And so
I need to read that.
yeah, listen to it. It's good. But he does have a new one coming out, and we
You got a pre-copy?
No, I don't know, but
Oh.
he's great. We've seen him speak
Yeah.
a few times and
He's really good.
He's really inspiring.
I
Yeah.
like the
Have you-
gap in the gain.
All right.
You know,
Cool.
it applies a lot to business, but it also applies a lot to just your personal view on yourself and how you show up in the world and how you can control whether things are happening to you or whether you're taking control and turning them into something that helps to drive you forward. So I think that's a really good
Awesome.
good book too.
Do you have a favorite?
Who, not how?
Oh, that's the right
We pretty much
seat,
got
right?
it covered here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trilogy. Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, I don't know what's going on. No.
Yeah.
how?
I forget the first one because I don't even know if it was those three that was the first one because he might have had another one that he was paired up with someone else.
It's those three with Dan Sullivan.
Oh, he's with all three? Okay. Yeah, he's fantastic though.
Yeah.
Those books are great. And to have